Hey, it's Jane Mann, and I thought today, because it's kind of like my beauty catch-up day, I'd videotape me doing the ANMA because I talk so much about the lift, the new microcurrent version of the ANMA, but I'm not really talking a ton about the ANMA, and this is still my favorite tool. So what I did is I put on a conductive gel. And I wanted to do this because I like a little bit of stick. So unlike what I do for microcurrent, I don't necessarily prep my face as quickly or like as detailed with products before I use the ANMA. But I do like a little bit of tack when I'm doing the ANMA. One of the questions I get a lot is this like a gouache tool? And yeah, but it's many tools in one. And so here would be kind of like the blade, and that's where I use it to really kind of go and smooth out and move lymph. The fingers, I use to kind of loosen up the fascia. And then the thumbs, I use kind of as like a pressure point. So it's combining these three in an ergonomical way that really fits and sculpts the face. I want to show you guys a picture of fascia real briefly while I'm talking about it. This is fascia. It's omnidirectional, meaning that it moves every angle. And isn't it beautiful? Can you imagine from the very top of your skin, the stratum corneum, what we see and the geometrical patterns on the skin, all the way down through the cells, through the circulatory, through the lymph, through the muscle, through the bone. This continual pattern shapes and molds our body. So many times we're thinking that, we go, oh, my hip hurts. It must be my hip bone or something. But it could actually be something that is restricted somewhere else, or maybe a scar is causing the pain. So I thought today with the ANMA, I would talk about scar release. I was in an accident when I was younger and went through the windshield of a car. So if you look in the right light, you can see that I have like a dent here, and there used to be almost like a keloid scar going up my forehead. So what you can do is, again, to go back to that image of the fascia, we can gently touch the scar and start to release some of those adhesions. And this isn't something that you see in like a day, and this isn't something that's guaranteed to take away the scar, but many times you can release part of it. This goes for surgery scars. A lot of times if somebody has a facelift or a neck lift, they have scars on the outside and behind the ears. And this can heal differently, creating an asymmetry in the face of healing, or because fascia starts at the top of the skin, going through all the layers, it can impede lymphatic flow. So you get more of a swelling. So this is the thought using the ANMA. I like to use the little thumbs. And if I were to work my forehead, I just kind of take this and I'm kind of bunching it, and then I'm pulling it away, bunching it, and I'm pulling it away. When I teach other estheticians this technique, I often refer to untangling the necklace. When you have a tangle or a knot in a necklace, you don't get very far with a heavy hand. You have to kind of push it together and kind of loosen it, and then you pull out the different pieces. This is the same way when you're working specific adhesions or restrictions on the face. Now, if you don't have an ANMA, you can use your fingers too. And there's many times you can just kind of go in and you start to feel the adhesion or the scar, and you start to just kind of feel it. You might want to close your eyes and you start to identify kind of with that. And then you kind of just lift up and out. And it's kind of entrancing because you will feel it if you're sensitive enough. On the sides of the face, for if you have a facelift scar or a neck from a neck lift, which is very common, you can just take the ANMA and just going super lightly right in these areas. And that's kind of what's neat about this, is you can hit two at the same time, just being very, very gentle. What we don't realize is it doesn't have to necessarily be a visible scar. And this is why the ANMA is so amazing, because ladies and possibly gentlemen, if you are getting filler, every time that needle goes through the fascia, you're creating a micro injury. And after so many times of getting filler, you start to create a pattern in the fascia that is kind of protecting and trying to kind of stop the intrusion of the cannula or the needle. So you can just gently go over these places where you get filler and start to renormalize that tissue. So that's the exciting thing that the ANMA can do. I've also had clients talk about it with helping with releasing the breast tissue after breast surgery. This is definitely something I would ask your doctor about, but I do have clients that have had a lot of success in working with that tissue. And we don't really think about the tissue after the surgery because there's not a scar to locate the point of entry. But any type of surgery, any type of intrusion, there's always going to be minor to significant fascial adhesions. So today, back to the handle, I am having like terrible sinuses. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a quick sinus thing, and I'm going to work on the nasal labial, because sometimes when we get sinuses, this part of the face, the mid face, gets really heavy and it creates kind of a nasal labial. So I'm going to first start by just moving to the side, and I'm using a really light pressure, and I'm even going to hit my nose because we don't really think about, the nose area. And I'm just going to kind of go underneath that eye. And just by doing this, honestly, I kid you not, my sinuses are already starting to drain. And I'm kind of going down and down. And now I'm going to kind of make a little loop around my Abicularis Oculi. And that's that muscle that goes around the eye that squints shut, kind of opening and opening. And if you're looking in the mirror, you might notice like, oh, I want to do something else. So kind of what I do after I do this, you can see my gel is kind of balling up. I like to go to my temple. I like to anchor, and I'm just lifting up, lift, 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 all the way up. And again, this is kind of gross, isn't it? The gel, but I like the tack. So I'm not one to use a lot of oils. I like a little tack so that the ANMA kind of drags along. And the gel, because I know I'll get the question, I use and love is the Neogenesis Glide Gel. It's a really clean gel. I feel comfortable putting it on my face. It washes off fairly easily. And I'm just dragging up. Now, what I'm paying attention to is as I'm dragging up with a little bit of grit from this gel, where am I feeling the resistance? Because that's what I'm looking for, right? So I'm going to anchor here, and now I'm going to kind of go up. The eye muscle, the Abicularis Oculi, is a sphincter muscle. So I want you to think it kind of closes like this. See? And you see all the lines here and all the way around. So I like to kind of go up. And now I'm going to release what's pulling my eyebrow down. I'm just kind of releasing that, going all the way up. And it's really light. So those that you have the ANMA, try doing this routine uncannily light, like uncannily light, something that you wouldn't normally do light, and then kind of come in between and use the thumb and try stretching this out right in here. really light. And as you're doing it, feel, where's the restriction? Where should you go next? Where's your intuition taking you? So that's it for today. I don't want to take too much of your time. I appreciate your views. I appreciate your likes. I appreciate you telling your friends to subscribe. Until then, happy lifting and happy ANMA-ing.